Due to the limited monetization of true crime videos on YouTube, I have created a Patreon for those of you who would like to support the channel. The link is in the description below. Get access to ad-free content, early access, and exclusive videos depending on the tier. Thank you so much. Also, we've created a Discord channel for those of you who would like to join the community. Hello, and welcome back to another interrogation breakdown. This is the interrogation of Dellen Millard, son of Wayne Millard, who was the owner of the multi-million-dollar Canadian airline named MillardAir. At the time of this interrogation, Dellen had been brought in for questioning after finding his father unresponsive in the bed with what appeared to be blood on his pillow. After the interrogation, I will let you know how this case went. It is a wild ride, so if you want to hear about that, just skip now to the conclusion. The timestamps listed in the description below. Okay, let's dive in. Like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. It really helps out the channel. Thank you.
Today, November the 30th, 2012. The time is 1:30 a.m. I'm Detective James Hutcheon, Hutcheon, badge number 6103. With me is
Detective Johnston, Johnston, badge 5058.
And also sitting with us is Dellen Millard.
That's correct.
Dellen, can you spell your first name, please?
D-E-L-L-E-N.
And your last name?
Millard, M-I-L-L-A-R-D.
Okay, and you also have a middle name, right?
Evan,
And spell that, please.
E-V-A-N.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, I'd ask that each of you acknowledge that you understand this statement as being video and audio taped and that you consent to such a tape being made. Is that understood?
It's understood.
Yep.
I understood and I consent. Dylan, there's a camera up here.
Yes.
Okay, and there's a microphone above your head.
Yes.
Okay? Okay, we're at 22 Division, which is 3699 Bloor Street West, Toronto. This statement will be taken under oath, solemn affirmation, solemn declaration, and will be videotaped. You must understand that it is a criminal offense under Section 139 and 140 of the Criminal Code to obstruct justice or to commit public mischief by making a false statement to police during an investigation. You must further understand that you may be a witness at a trial concerning the events you describe in the statement, and if at that time you recant your statement or claim it to be false, it can and will be used at that trial, and you may be liable to prosecution under Section 137 of the Criminal Code for fabricating evidence. Finally, you must understand that you are not obligated to give this statement, and if any person has by words or acts attempted to persuade you to provide it, you are to disregard those words or acts and only give the statement if you freely choose to do so. Do you understand your right to choose whether or not to make a statement?
Yes, I understand that.
Do you understand the criminal consequences of making a false statement?
Yes, I do.
Do you understand the fact that this statement will be videotaped?
Yes, I do.
And do you choose then to give a statement?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. At this time, I'd ask the Commissioner of Oaths to administer the oath.
Okay, one, I want to say kudos to the detectives for making sure he completely understands his rights and what he's doing. But also, did you see how he was like, yes, I do, yes, I do, yes, I do. And they said, do you want to make a statement? And he goes, sure. The fact that it's so much different from his other statements leads me to believe that no, he doesn't want to make a statement. He's only doing it because he feels like he has to throw off suspicion from himself.
Feel lucky.
What's going on? Will you be swearing on the Bible, sir?
No, I'll
No,
be...
affirming. Okay, it's
Affirming.
McDonald, 86920, Commissioner of Oaths. So I'm just going to ask you, do you, Dellen Millard, solemnly affirm that in this statement you shall tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dory. Okay, Dylan. We're here with respect to an incident that actually happened yesterday, Thursday, November 29th, 2012, at, I believe, your home at 5 Maple Gate in
Yes.
Etobicoke. And what I'd like you to do is just start from the beginning as to what happened and that brought the police into this incident.
From the beginning?
Well,
I don't know what happened yesterday, but today I got back to the house sometime between 6 and 6:30.
okay, just today is, we're after
It's
midnight
now
now.
Friday.
So it's Friday, so that's
Okay.
why I say yesterday as far as Thursday.
All right,
Okay.
yes, I see. And so Thursday, sometime between 6 and 6:30, I got back to the house. I had been working at our family business in Waterloo. I came in through the side door. That's the door most everybody uses in the house. And I opened up the next door, which leads to the cat area of the house. It's the door from the kitchen to the hallway. And my dog Pedo was waiting for me there. And I walked down the hallway, and I walked to my room, and I picked a sweater out of the closet. It had been a cold day. And then I was on my way back to the kitchen to make a snack, and I noticed that my father seemed to still be asleep in bed, which was odd because it was late in the afternoon. And so I poked my head in, and something didn't really seem right about the way he was laying. He was laying very stilly. And then I walked into the room, and I saw the blood on the pillow. And for a moment I had to leave the room. I actually went back to my room, and I got out my phone, and I walked back into my dad's room, and I called my mother, and I told her what I was seeing. I literally said, I'm standing in my dad's room, and there's blood all over his pillow, and he's dead. And at first, she thought I actually meant my dog Pedo, because she kept asking about his dog bed. I said, no, not the dog bed, his bed's pillow. She said, well, Pedo's not dead. Who's dead? I said, my dad. And she just started screaming on the phone. And what happened? And well, I stayed on the phone with her for a while. I went out to the front. I left the room. I paced in the front driveway. I stayed with her on the phone for a while. And I tried to get her to take a taxi, but she insisted she drive out. And so she drove over, and I texted a friend of mine, Andrew Michalski, and I told him that something terrible had happened, and would he please come over? I didn't want to be alone. And he did. And we waited in the driveway together until my mother got there.
There's so many things that I have to question here. Firstly, you saw the blood and then you left the room, and then you called your mom and told her that your dad is dead, even though you hadn't checked him yet. You just saw the blood on the pillow, so you don't even know how or that 100% that he's dead. Have you checked his pulse? You didn't go into detail about that. And then instead of calling the police after calling your mom, knowing she's on the way, you call a friend and tell them something bad just happened? That's really weird and out of order. I feel like I would call the cops first because I want to know what happened. Like, I want them to get here and them to, close down the crime scene and make sure there's the least amount of interaction with it as possible in case there is foul play.
And then she went in the house by herself for less than 10 minutes, more than 5. and she came back out, and she pulled out her phone and she called the police. Or, well, she dialed 911. And fire truck came first, and then ambulance, and then squad cars. And I talked to some of the officers. They asked me when was the last time I spoke with my father. And what time I came home that day. That's what happened yesterday.
Okay. All right. So you were in Waterloo working? Where were you in Waterloo?
Waterloo Kitchener International Airport. We've built a hangar there, a large one, and there was all kinds of mechanics there. I moved a bunch of trailers around. We had to tidy up the floor to make it look more presentable.
Okay. So you work for the family business?
Yes, I do.
And the family business is?
It's MillardAir, Incorporated, and it's right now being trying to be reimagined into an MRO, which is a maintenance and repair organization, and it's essentially a garage to bring airplanes, get them fixed. And a couple of years ago, we were a hangarage business on Toronto Airport, where we rent hangar space to companies. And now we're trying to get into the maintenance side of things.
So this is a new endeavor then for the company?
Yeah.
Okay. And how's that going as far as the new hangar and everything in Kitchener?
It's going. It's stressful. It's been about a year and a half of very hard work for everyone involved, and we haven't got a contract yet. So, from an accountant's standpoint, it's not going well.
This is why you should always get a lawyer. Yes, Dellen did kill his father, but many people have issues in business and they don't end up killing anybody over it. But this can look like a motive for an innocent person to have committed a crime.
How long has this business been up and running?
Well, it's
like viable to start doing maintenance repair order?
We got our license about 3 weeks ago. And it's been over a year of preparation to get to that point.
What's your position in the company?
My business card doesn't have a title on it, but I think legally I'm vice president of the company.
Okay. And when did you go to Kitchener?
after 11:30, but probably before 12:30, somewhere in there, right around lunchtime.
Okay. And when did you leave Kitchener?
To come back
Yeah.
to Etobicoke. I don't know. I'm just backwards engineering the hours. If I got home around 6 to 6:30, I would have left Kitchener probably about 4:30 because I stopped in Oakville. I have a friend that comes with me to work, and I was dropping him off at home.
When was the last time you saw your dad?
A few hours ago.
Like,
In bed.
no, I mean the last time you saw him alive, sorry.
I keep wanting to say yesterday. It'd be Wednesday at about lunchtime. I was just leaving, and he was talking with Robert Kozlowski, who is our business advisor. And I stopped for a moment to put my 2 cents in. They were talking about one of our managers, John Barnes, who's been difficult to deal with lately. And I was basically saying, let's just find somebody that's easier to deal with, because he's holding us back. And my father said, what did he say to that? He said, yeah, maybe later. And I headed out. I went to Oakville from there. Lisa, the bookkeeper, was still there when I left. And I think Robert and I left at the same time.
Did you stay at the house Wednesday night?
Mark's house, yeah.
Oh. Is that Mark your friend?
Yeah.
That's in Oakville?
That's in Oakville. I pick him up, I drop him off. Sometimes I sleep over. And he comes to work with me to Waterloo.
And Mark's last name?
Smich. Smich.
And where's Mark live?
He lives in Oakville. I can't give you the exact address. I'll give you a street corner.
Okay.
He lives just off of Old Abbey Lane, very near to 3rd Line. But his actual street isn't Old Abbey. It's another small side street, but I don't know the name of it.
Okay. Now, your main residence, is that 5 Maplegate?
Officially, it's 307 Riverside. I have an apartment in that building, but I've torn it all apart for renovations. So for the last year, I've lived at Maplegate with my dad.
Where's Riverside?
Very near to Laura and Jane.
So, your mom mentioned a sixplex, is that,
That's it.
that's a sixplex?
Yeah.
And your apartment number in 307?
Number 2.
So, do you live full-time at your dad's house right now, or?
Right now, yeah.
So is Riverside, is it livable in right now, or is it,
The apartment?
yeah,
I don't need that many amenities, so yeah, it's livable, but the washrooms aren't, the toilet works. The washrooms aren't hooked up. The walls are just sort of starting to be painted. It's getting close.
okay. Now your dad's health, can you tell me how his health was?
Well, he threw out his back. It's been a while now. 9 months ago, between 7 and 9 months ago. And that really, really restricted his mobility. He was bedridden for 2 or 3 months. And then recently he's been able to drive himself out to Waterloo. And he has an electric scooter there. He goes around the hangar-on.
Does he have trouble getting around in the house?
Trouble as though he can't do it smoothly, or couldn't do it smoothly. It was awkward for him to walk, but he would go around the house no problem.
Okay. Any other medical problems?
It's a medical problem.
Heart, liver, lungs?
Strong heart, very strong liver. He'd have to be.
Pardon me?
I said it'd have to be.
Why?
He's always liked alcohol. He's always drank lots, and he'd have to have a strong liver.
Now, was your dad a big drinker, or a regular drinker, or an alcoholic? How would you describe him?
I don't like to say the word alcoholic, but it fits. He was a regular drinker, like every night, and more than I could drink. But he was also a regular non-drinker. During the mornings and the days, he wouldn't drink at all. It was always just late at night.
These are not therapists. This is not time to get rid of your daddy issues or resolve them by speaking to someone. If you have a problem with your father's drinking, you should take that up with a therapist who can actually help you work through your feelings. Why are you telling them all of this extra information? Also, this is really weird behavior from somebody who just found their father dead like 6 hours ago. It's weird that you'd automatically be like, well, I don't like to say it, but he is an alcoholic. I mean, he drinks every single night. You know, not during the day, but... So basically, he's a functional alcoholic, but I'm not going to say alcoholic because that has a bad connotation. Ooh, feel bad for me. Like, that's all I'm getting from this. Like, it's just feel bad for me vibes. My dad's always been a drinker. Like, okay, that's a problem, but not to talk to detectives about. This is not the time or place.
And how much would he drink at night?
It changes over time, all the time. Before he hurt his back, he was into whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
And What's the one that's bigger than 2.6?
40?
Is it like a big glass bottle like that?
Mm-hmm.
So you probably do one of those in 2 weeks of whiskey. But then when he hurt his back, he stopped drinking altogether. He actually thought that it wasn't a back problem, that it was a kidney problem related to alcohol. And then more recently, just in the last 2 months, he's taken up drinking again, and it seems to be wine more, or has been wine more. Maybe 8 to 10 of those small wine bottles a night.
Your dad, did he have any guns in the house?
In the past, he has definitely. The safe that the detectives and officers have seen tonight, he's had that safe as long as I can remember. And he's opened it in front of me maybe 3 times in my life. And he used to have handguns in it. And the last time he opened it that I saw was over 3 years ago. And it had a bunch of pistols in it then.
Why are you saying he used to? Why didn't you just say, as far as I know, yes? Or, yes, he keeps them in his safe. Why are you being so weird about the fact that he owns guns? Or the fact that you have any knowledge about the guns? Like, oh, I knew about them 3 years ago, but that doesn't mean they're still there. But they were there. I've only seen the inside of the safe a few times, and last time I saw it, there were pistols in there. So as far as I used to know, then yeah, there was. Like, it's just so weird. Why are you making it such a big deal to be like, yeah, my dad owned guns? It's a pretty straightforward question, and he's adding all of these hoops for no reason. That's pretty suspicious. Like, all of these little things are just dinging like red flags. The little things just start adding up. The too much detail earlier in the story when he was describing how he entered the house. It just all is looking weird together.
But about 2 years ago, even 2 to 3 years ago, it had something to do with the gun registry that was going on. It prompted it. He said that he gave all of his guns to a fellow named Les Beatty, who at that time was working for us. He doesn't work for us anymore.
So he gave them to Les Beatty?
Mm-hmm. My understanding was that Les would take them out in the country somewhere, a friend's property or a family member's property, and just shoot them for fun.
Okay. Do you have a number for Les Beatty?
I do.
Okay.
No, wait. I don't have it on my phone. I never call him, but I did give it to an officer tonight because we have it's not a Rolodex, but it's our own little phone book in the house.
Okay. So your understanding was your dad didn't have any guns left?
No, I didn't think so.
Now you mentioned the safe. Do you know if there was a combination somewhere for the safe, or
His lawyer will have the combination.
the lawyer would have the combination?
I would imagine so. I don't see how he'd ever expect me to open it after his death.
Okay. questions?
Did anyone else ever stay over in the house besides you? Like anyone else ever sleep over in that house?
Sometimes Mark would sleep over at my house, and then we'd just go straight to Waterloo from there. Not recently in the last maybe 3 months, but before that, sometimes I would have parties and people would have had too much to drink to drive, so they'd just sleep over in the basement.
Okay.
That was never regular. That was sort of on just a case-by-case type of thing.
What's the whole basement set up for downstairs?
For parties.
For parties?
Yeah. We tried to make it look like a club.
Who set it up like that?
I did the interior design stuff for it. We like the paint colors and wallpaper.
And how often would you have parties?
This year I've had 2.
Would you advertise them, or?
No. No, just friends of friends.
When would your last party have been?
Somewhere in the middle of the summer. I don't know what month.
Okay, so let's just do the math here. It's 11/30/2012. So you're telling me that a year ago your dad had a back injury where he blew his back out and he was bedridden for several months. You said it happened 9 months ago, I think. And then he was bedridden for 2 to 3 months. But you say your last party was 5 months ago. So when was your first party? When your dad was bedridden with a back injury? That's kind of messed up. You're out down there partying, have the time of your life, while your dad's upstairs, suffering in his bed, can't sleep because you're being loud, and having a party, and probably nobody's taking care of him because everybody's drunk, and what if he needs some water or something? He's bedridden. Excuse me, hello? This sounds awful. What the hell?
When my cousins were over, and they only come in July. It's probably in July.
And what takes place? I saw there's Xbox and TVs and stuff like that set up down there.
Mm-hmm.
And drugs. There's some drugs down there.
We smoke pot.
Okay. Do you grow it?
No.
And the whole hallway with the bedrooms and stuff, and the rooms set up there, what's all that for?
That's just a guest room.
Just guest rooms?
Mm-hmm. There's just the one, though. There's not guest rooms.
Have the police ever attended there for any of these parties?
I think a couple years back, we had one get out of control, and we had to call the police to get people off the property.
How many people usually come?
Usually it's 20 or less. That night it was more like 300 or something. It was, somebody posted on Facebook and it just went nuts.
Doors in the house, are they usually always locked?
Yeah. Different doors have different habits. The front door is always deadbolted from the inside. The side door is a combination that locks as soon as you close it. My dad's usually pretty good about going around the house at night to make sure we have wooden stoppers in the sliding doors that feed to the back.
Okay. Your dad's sliding door wasn't locked, and there was no wooden stopper in there, and the screen wasn't locked, is that?
That's not unusual recently. He's been smoking a lot in the house recently.
Smoking in the house, or?
Yeah, he didn't used to do that a few years ago, but now he does, now he did, and You just open the door.
Okay, I don't think it's weird that there was no wooden stopper and that the door was unlocked, because with sliding glass doors, I completely understand leaving it unlocked during the day while you're going in and out, opening it and shutting it. But you literally just said that your dad would lock the doors. Now you're saying, oh, well, that's normal because now he smokes inside. Which is obviously weird. Like, why would the door be unlocked if he's smoking inside? But yeah, of course, you've got to open the door and let the smoke out. Why didn't you just say my dad leaves the sliding glass door unlocked all day because he's letting the smoke out of the house? It's weird that you were already caught in an inconsistency. So you're like trying to make it not seem sketchy that the door wasn't locked, but you just said that the door should have been locked, but now you're saying, oh no, it's fine that the door's not locked. It's just weird. Like, the way you're answering questions makes no sense.
And for his room, he lets the cats out there too. We have an enclosure around his bedroom sliding door. It's like it's all fenced in. It's for the cats. So they can sort of go outside.
Okay, was your dad depressed at all?
He had depression in him. He carried some great sadness with him throughout life that I never really knew exactly what it was. He never really wanted to share it with me. It wasn't like he was always sad either.
Did he get treatment for depression?
No.
Was he under a lot of stress with this new endeavor?
Lots. Lots this year.
Was there a chance the business was going to fail? And
Yeah, that chance is more than a chance.
is it still a chance, or?
Oh yeah.
Okay, and how soluble is your dad if the business fails?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, like, based on the fact that it was your grandfather's MillardAir company, the big transportation company, sold his hangars in Toronto.
Yeah.
The house and some of his possessions, your dad had amassed a certain amount of wealth and looked like he was pretty successful. So if this business, this new endeavor doesn't fly or takes a longer time to get off, is your dad going to go bankrupt, or?
Yeah. Yeah, everything that we have is in this business.
The detective is being very careful with the way he's wording it because he feels like he's dealing with the son of somebody who just killed themselves, and this person's probably pretty fragile, but he's really dealing with the murderer. So he's letting the murderer lead him astray, but out of compassion. It seems like they're coming to the conclusion that his father did take his own life, since this was ruled a suicide and only reopened after Dellen was found to have murdered 2 other victims. But the thing I have to ask is, would he be crushed if his business failed? But it hadn't failed yet. So why would he do it before he lost everything? That doesn't really make sense with the line of questioning. Yes, Dellen's trying to make it seem like, of course it's going to fail. It's just about to fail and the pressure's too much. Of course he's doing that. He's the murderer. But it doesn't make sense to think that somebody would do that before knowing that they had lost it all, if you were going to go down that road, which the detectives seem to have adopted.
Including loans on the house, and including a large loan from RBC Bank for the business itself. And we're all in.
So how long did your dad think that it should, like, the year and a half that it took to get to this point to get the license, was that longer than it should have been?
We originally projected 9 months, and it became a year. And we thought that as soon as we had the license, contracts would be coming in steadily and easily, and we haven't got a contract yet. It hasn't been that long. It's been about, like I said, 3 weeks. But yeah, we thought we'd be doing better.
Okay, with 3 weeks, once you get the license, to wait 3 weeks for the business to start, that's not a long time.
No, it's not at all. It's also, we've spent a lot more than we thought we were going to spend, too.
Oh, time itself and the fact that the assets are in the business is not enough to convince you that he definitely did this to himself? Well, here's another reason. He spent more money than he was supposed to as well. Like, why are you adding more and more reasons on why he would do that? In my head, when a family member dies, you're like asking questions. You're wanting to know what the hell is going on. You want to know what happened, and honestly, you would refuse to believe that they would do it to themselves. You'd have to be like, somebody came in here, that guy that at work was mad at him, or this is the last like, you wouldn't be trying to convince the detectives to close the case. You would be trying to convince the detectives to fully explore what's going on. This is just really weird behavior.
Okay. Is there much competition in the MRO business, or?
Yeah, it's a small number of players, but the competition is fierce between them.
Okay. Does your dad own other properties?
Just gotta own something else. He owns Maple Gate.
Sorry?
At the house we were at.
Yeah.
The hangar. I own Riverside, which is the sixplex.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think he owns any other properties right now.
A vacation property or anything like that? A cottage?
No, yeah, he got property when his father died. He got his house and a vacation home out in Picton, and they were both sold.
How long would your grandfather die?
I honestly don't know. 6 years, I'm guessing.
I noticed some stuff, Robinson helicopter and other stuff. Are you a pilot?
I am.
Your dad was a pilot, right?
Yes, he was.
What pilot license? Are you a helicopter pilot?
Yeah, I'm a helicopter pilot, and I have that at the private license level, which is, do you know the different levels?
No.
There's one that's just, I forget the name of it, it's just for you and your friends. Then there's the private one, which would be for you and multiple friends, like up to 8 people, I think. And then there's the commercial level where you're working for a company and, I don't know, maybe you're flying tours somewhere, flying executives to an oil rig. That's the commercial one.
So you're good up to 8 people then?
I'm good up to 8 people, yeah.
Okay. And are you fly planes as well?
I'm not licensed for it anymore because I let that run out, but I know how.
Your dad was a pilot as well, right?
He was. Out of anybody I've seen, he had the most number of ratings on his license for different aircraft that he could fly.
Okay. Was he still flying?
No, he he hasn't flown in a long time. I think his last check ride was while his father was still alive, maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
When you went into your dad's room, okay, and you saw him there today, did you take anything out of the room or touch anything or move anything?
No.
Did you see a note or anything in the room?
No.
Anywhere in the house?
I wasn't looking for one, but no, I didn't see a note.
You have a housekeeper?
Yes.
Her name?
Her name is Dina.
How often does Dina come?
Usually twice a day.
What time of the day would she come?
She would come late morning, say between 9 and 10 would be the first time she'd come. And then she'd probably come again around 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
This is such a dangerous yet smart line he's towing. He's not giving himself very much time between when the housekeeper should have been there or left and the time that he has arrived, which, if you're thinking about it, makes him seem suspicious. But he knows when he killed his dad, and he knows what the autopsy is going to show, so it has to be close to the same amount of time. So it would make sense, oh, the housekeeper came, then she left, and between the time that she left and I got home, he killed himself. That's a very strategic line he's towing, and I'm honestly surprised with everything he said in this interrogation that he wasn't checked more thoroughly and that it was ruled a suicide, because he seems so off.
Okay, was that Dina that pulled up when I was talking to you and your mom
Yeah,
today?
it was.
Okay, and that was a little bit later. That was like
I don't know what time.
That was like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, we'd already been there.
After
for some
9,
time.
9:30.
Okay.
Okay. And had she been there earlier in the day? Do you know?
I noticed that his dinner was served on his desk, so she was probably there around 5.
So if she was there at 5, why would she come back at 9 or 9:30?
I don't know. Maybe just to clean up the dishes. But it's neither unusual or usual. It wouldn't surprise me that she'd come at 9 at the same time. She doesn't have a regular thing to do at that time, though.
Huh? It cannot be not unusual and also unusual, because those are opposites. This is what I'm talking about. He's acting so fucking weird.
She's always come in and out of the house freely whenever she wants.
Okay, does she live nearby?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she lives on Renforth. near Bloor.
I noticed a large keyboard in the front hallway where the front door is bolted.
A musical keyboard?
No,
Oh,
a board of keys.
yes.
Are like,
Those are all vehicles at the Waterloo Airport.
they're all at the airport?
Yep.
Yeah, like,
Except maybe my dad's van key, it might be on there.
okay, so those vehicles weren't missing from the home then?
No.
Okay. So there's like, it looked like, sports vehicles,
There's a mix. There's about, we have about 15 vehicles. We got some little cars, a couple Jeeps, a couple trucks, a couple vans.
jet skis and,
Yeah.
where are they all stored at the hangar as well?
They're all at the hangar.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the items. I had to clean off the floor. It didn't look airport enough.
Okay. All right, anything else?
No, just, did you know if your dad had a girlfriend or anyone involved in his life?
About a week ago, he asked me if I would be all right with him seeing a woman called Janet.
Have you ever met her?
No, I've never met her. I was told that she was a cousin-in-law that he's known his whole life.
Did he say how long he's been dating her? Or?
No, but we get calls frequently at night, and I'm quite sure that it's just her. And that's been going on for the last year.
Do you know where she lives?
No.
What did you tell your dad when he asked you?
I told him that so long as it didn't create any legal issues with me, I wanted him to go find his happiness.
Really? As long as it didn't create any legal issues for you. So I wonder if your dad actually told you he might be getting serious with this lady, or might even be perhaps marrying her, and maybe that would perhaps, I don't know, change the assets you would get when your father passed away? Just food for thought.
And was it ever mentioned again since we asked you?
This past weekend, he disappeared for 2 days, and I think he was with her.
Anything else?
If your dad has a will,
I don't know for certain. I assume he does.
You mentioned a lawyer. Do you know who his lawyer is?
The firm is Heenan Blakely.
Is that H-H?
H-E-E-N-A-N Blake, L-E-Y. I think that's how I spell it, I'm not sure. And Harry Andrew is his lawyer's name.
After some fake pretending to think, you really knew exactly what the name of the firm and his lawyer was. A little weird that you had that information so prepped and ready. I don't know, just seems a bit strange to me.
Do you know where their office is, or?
Somewhere in Toronto.
Do you know who the executor of your dad's estate is?
Does that mean who distributes his estate when he
Who would be in
dies?
charge of it? Yeah, would it be the lawyer or specific?
It'll probably be, I would assume it'll be his lawyer and well, I actually think a lot of it would be going towards me, not that there's really anything.
Not the beneficiary, but the
Yeah.
executor, whoever
Oh,
would be in charge, you know.
no, I don't know.
In the interim to settle the estate, pay the bills, and
I'd just be guessing. Maybe his lawyer, maybe myself. I really don't know. I'm sure at one point it was my mother. I don't know if that's still the case.
okay. Are you, do you have signing authority for the business? How about any of his personal affairs?
Signing authority?
Yeah, like joint on the house or?
There's one account that we're joint on. I've never actually used it though.
It was like an in-case count, in case something like this happened, and then you would have access to.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know what his thinking was. He was big on setting that up.
Okay.
He made a big deal about it. I used it.
All right. Okay, Trish?
Yeah, okay.
All right. The time is now 2:18 a.m. It's still Friday, November 30th, 2012, and I'm ending this interview. Actually, before I end it, is there anything that you want to tell us that we might have forgotten to ask you, or anything that you remembered that you think that we should know? Or any little detail that you think might be able to help us?
I don't know if anything we've talked about has been helpful or not. No.
Okay.
He didn't ask if anything you guys had talked about was helpful. He asked if there was anything that you could possibly think of that could be helpful that they didn't ask. You're not even listening. Also, I really wish this detective wouldn't put words in his mouth like, "Oh, did your dad have that account in case of something like this happening?" Just ask the suspect what the account is for. Don't say what you think it's for.
Okay, the time now is 2:19 a.m. and I'm ending this interview.
Dellen was only investigated in the murder of his father after being found guilty of committing 2 other murders. He murdered Tim Bosma in 2013 while pretending to be in the market for a truck. He and his friend, Mark Smich, went for a test drive with him, and Tim never returned. His wife reported him missing hours later, and Dellen was identified by his satchel and an ambition tattoo on his wrist that was reported by the other person they took a test drive with a few days prior. They had used the same burner phone to contact the different people, but had only killed Tim. They clearly don't understand how call logs work. After a warrant was given for Dellen, Tim's truck was found in a trailer in Dellen's mom's driveway, which had been driven and dropped off there by Dellen's girlfriend who knew she was covering for the murder and got 3 months in jail after agreeing to testify. The publicity led a friend of Laura Babcock to ask police to investigate her disappearance in connection with Dellen. Tim was not his first murder. Laura Babcock was a previous ex of Dellen's from 2008. In 2012, Laura began sleeping with Dellen again, but Dellen was dating Christina at the time. Yes, the same girlfriend that helped cover up Tim's murder. She found out Dellen was cheating, and he assured her he would take care of it, even sending a text that read, quote, "First, I'm going to hurt her. Then I'll make her leave. I will remove her from our lives." Unquote. On July 3rd, 2012, Dellen picked Laura up and then sent Mark a picture of a large object wrapped in a tarp. I honestly wasn't expecting to see that picture, and knowing what is inside of it is horrifying. Dellen had bought a .32 caliber a few days before Laura's murder, and an incinerator had arrived at his farmhouse only 2 days later. Dellen then searched on Google for temperatures needed for cremation and texted Mark, quote, "Barbecue has run its warm-up. It's ready for meat." Unquote. Pictures were also found of Mark in front of the incinerator while it was on, and him rapping these awful lyrics. "The bitch started off all skin and bone. Now the bitch lay on some ashy stone. Last time I saw her outside the home, and if you go swimming, you can find her phone." If that doesn't scream guilty, I don't know what the fuck does. While in prison, Dellen wrote Christina 65 letters asking her to match stories and say Laura died of an overdose. Human remains were found in the incinerator and are believed to be both Laura and Tim's. At this point, the detectives re-examined the case of Wayne Millard and realized that he was threatening to cut off his son's lavish lifestyle because his son had been spending a lot of money, and Wayne didn't want him to destroy the company financially. Which is why I question why the officers were so quick to believe Dellen in the first place. When somebody has that much to gain, why not investigate more? It was then uncovered that the gun used to kill Wayne was also the .32 that Dellen had bought just prior to Laura's death. Also, Wayne had no gunshot residue on his hands or clothes. I really have no idea how this was classified as a suicide. Dellen and Mark were both convicted for Tim and Laura's murders and given 25 years minimum for each. Dellen was given an additional 25 years for his father's murder. Tim's murder seemed to only be a thrill kill and could have been prevented had the detectives dug a little deeper into the investigation, in my opinion. A huge shout out to our Patreon producers, Jason and Taz, and Skylar James Wicker. All the support really helps the channel, and I appreciate all that you patrons do. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe for more interrogation, breakdown, and true crime videos to come. Comment below your thoughts. Thank you and have a wonderful day.